Look, Pat Buchanan was right a few years back when he said that we don't have two parties in Washington, D.C. We have two wings of the same bird of prey. And that is exactly where we are in our country. This is where I come from, the Christian conservative wing of the Republican Party, if you want to categorize it that way. This is what so many of my evangelical brothers and sisters just cannot and have not figured out. They really still labor under this belief, as do many on the other side of the aisle as well, that there is some kind of distinguishable difference between these two parties, that there really is such a thing as a lesser of two evils. But really there's not. As one friend of mine said, we're not faced with a choice between the lesser of two evils. We're faced with a choice of the evil of two lessers. And that's really where we are today in America. Because both of these parties are taking America in an evil direction. I mentioned a minute ago in my address to you that when I become president, the New World Order comes crashing down. The thing that nobody wants to talk about, the third rail in politics, is the manufacturing of this New World Order that we first heard Bush 1 talk about whenever he was president back in the late 80s. But ever since has become pretty much the mantra, the dogma of Washington politics. I don't know whether you have read Mr. McCain's speech before the Hoover Institution here just a few months ago, when he talked about what he's going to do within the first year after he becomes president in creating a brand new League of Democracies. If you have not read this, you need to go read it. Google it up and read it for yourself. This is the United Nations on steroids. We are talking about organizations, international globalist entities that literally are usurping the authority, the sovereignty, and the independence of the United States of America. I hear John McCain talking all over the place about how that we are an interdependent nation. He uses that word all over the place. Well, ladies and gentlemen, when our founding fathers signed that great document that we've heard about this morning, it was not the Declaration of Interdependence, it was the Declaration of Independence. We are an independent, sovereign state. And yet we have forces in Washington, D.C. today from both parties that want to merge America into this international globalist order in which constitutional government will not exist. And I think one of the things that all of us on this platform are sensing, and I think one of the things that Ron Paul is sensing, that causes him to do what he's doing, that causes him to go to the effort that he's gone to, extraordinary effort, to bring this group together, to bring you all together in all this entire campaign. The reason is because we all sense that if we do not address these fundamental principles that are being sacrificed by these two major parties here in the very near future, we're not going to have to worry about any of it because the freedoms and the independence and the constitutional form of government that we've enjoyed will no longer exist. We are fighting for the preservation of our very form of government. That's why what Ron Paul is doing is so important, and that's why we on the stage are here this morning.